Alright, I think we're back. Whew. Alright, took care of all the issues. Let me, boom. Whoops, what just happened? Did I just close Hold'em Manager? Alright, oh boy. Let's see if you guys are still here. Oh, looks like we lost everyone. All right. So, back to the show. This is going to be part 2 if you're watching on YouTube. And we are going to be talking about game theory optimal play and figuring out exactly what it is. And by that, I mean watching me try to figure it out. I'm not going to tell you guys how to do it or how it works because I don't really understand it yet. So, that is, full disclosure, what this video is going to be about. But it should kind of help with other people who are trying to figure that out. Okay, so here was our session that I think we just played, maybe. No, that's something else. Let me look at active session. So, this is pretty interesting. When, I guess you guys can probably see this to some extent. Let me pull up reports and go to today. All right, so of course, you guys can't see that. Let me. All right. All right, so you guys can sort of see. One thing interesting about game theory optimal play is typically you have a red line that goes up and a blue line that will be about break even. So this is it's kind of interesting. The very first session I tried to do this, this is my result, is I've got this red line that's going up because I'm, I guess, getting people to fold a lot. I'm not sure exactly why that is, but putting pressure on the middle of people's ranges does this, I suppose. And then your blue line shouldn't be negative because you're putting people in situations where if they call too much, they should be behind your range. They should be losing. If they call the perfect amount or fold, a lot of times it's appropriate for them to fold when you're betting the river because you're going to bet big, and against the middle of their range, it's going to be appropriate for them to fold. Your red line goes up, and then when they call, your blue line goes up. So I think that's what are we? Oh my God, what a troubled little puppy. Trying to chew on electric cords. All right, so the puppy I will hold, I guess. Lines, stuff. Let's pull up the session. And, man, I wish I could. Is there a way to pop the chat out? No. Oh, pop out. Here we go. Why don't I put the chat in the video? Don't say anything inappropriate, please. Because that way, when we watch the YouTube video, since it's pretty much live, we'll get it. So there's the chat. Yeah, okay. Let's move Hold'em Manager over. All right, sorry, apologize for the setup time if you guys are watching on YouTube, or actually the guys who are live also. Let's look at our overall. So, we two-tabled. We won $30. Awesome session. I'm amazing. That's how you do it. Let's look through the hands. So you guys can kind of see. What I want to look at is river situations. So let's go ahead and filter, by river. And we'll just say that, we saw the river. Because I think that'll give us enough hands. We got to the river a bunch of times. So that should give us enough hands. 21 hands is plenty, I think. And We'll just do them by when they happened. Replay all. So let me move this out of the way, and then I think I can shape this thing. Nope, it doesn't want to. It doesn't want to do that. Sorry. I just want you guys to be able to see well. I don't think... Oh, never mind. I'd have to redraw the screen. Okay, this will work. This will work, right, guys? This is okay. It's not perfect, but... There we go. Lots of chat space. So we can see all the chatting. All right, and I want to go back to the simple HUD because that's what we played with anyway, and most of these guys we don't have that many hands on. So let's go ahead and we'll skip right to the river on these, and then we'll kind of, I don't know how this is going to work, but we'll just talk about it for this one. In future ones, I have Card Runners EV on my laptop, but I got to pay like another, I don't know, some ridiculous amount of money to get it on my desktop also. I'll do that, but I will do that so that I can use it on here, but that is a very long and tedious process. I need to get better at using Poker Tracker to, I need to get better at Card Runners EV before I start doing it in a live video because there's going to be a lot of fumbling. So let's look at this spot. We're out of position. We've got a pair of nines on this board. Let's bring up a notepad. How do you guys want to do this? I'm open to suggestions. This is going to be a preview of what this study group is going to look like that I'd like to create. So I know looks like Kirby wants to be part of it. I'm quite sure Rello will be wanting to get involved. Oops. So we'll have at least 3 or 4 people, I would think, pretty quickly that want to partake in a study group. Yeah, we'll just do it on the weekends when people have time. All right, so I don't know. Let's just start. Let's just start by talking about what our range is here for betting. So, and again, stop me if I'm doing something that doesn't make sense. Sorry, that keyboard's loud. So river, and we won't necessarily say value because I guess that's a weird thing in GTO poker talk, talking about like the value range. But I'll say, I don't know, made hands. So you know the full range of hands that we're going to be betting here is going to be, oh gosh, that's not good. We'll say like ace queen, king queen, you know, I mean, this is a relatively large pot. Anyone else? Anybody got a range here for betting? Ace queen, king king, ace ace. Can we get here with ace ace? I guess that's the other thing is we need to figure out what range we can get here with. Darn it! Hold on. Freak animals. Okay, yeah, aces, yeah, sixes, twos. But let's look and see if that's actually correct. Let's look at the way this hand went. I'm not saying we can't have ace ace. So we raise, call, bet, call, check. Okay, so that's interesting. We check the turn. and he bets. So I would say there's some hands that aren't in our range anymore, most likely, once we check call the turn. Do we agree with that? That I would say that sixes is no longer in our range. Nines are no longer in our range. Because I think we would raise all those hands on the turn. Twos, we would raise. So, no, pocket nines, sorry. Pocket nines. Pocket nines, pocket sixes, and pocket twos I don't think are in our range here. And shouldn't be. I think we should be raising this with those hands like all the time. So we've got, if we've got 9-8, I would say we have like ace, why is that? Oh, ace 9, like 9x. We can say like, I would say 8-9, like 9, 8. Oh my gosh, sorry. 9-8 plus, meaning 9-8, 9-10, 9 jack. That's not a good way to write that, but for right now. Okay, but the thing is I think it's important to work backwards, which we're not doing. So let's start at the river, like we were, and let's just talk about what hands have value here and what ones don't. So, that's right. Sorry, this is going to be really painful to watch if you watch on YouTube. That's okay. We're going to figure this out. So we want to talk about the, essentially what, what's his hand? Do we know what his hand is? Okay. Let's just talk about how to put his hand in the middle of our betting range. Can we do that? He doesn't have a hand, though, so it's kind of tough. Maybe this is a bad example. You guys want to move on to another one? Right. Okay. So what is our unexploitable? Okay, all right. Need to hire a pro to come on here and help us with this. So we need to figure out what our unexploitable betting range is here. What can't he, what range can he not exploit us with? So we want to essentially look at we want to look at what hands he cannot do anything about. So like if we say the middle of a calling range here is nines, then we've got overlap. That becomes kind of complicated. Not only that, but we probably have the worst nines. If we put the middle of his range at like eights, we could say like how do we make eights 0 EV? How do we make him calling with eights 0 EV? And to do that, we really need to figure out like some combos. I may not be fully prepared for the math side of this thing, but let's talk theoretically here for right now. So let's talk about the middle of a range here would be, maths is hard. The middle of his range is like, pair of nines. So nines. That makes it look like I'm saying trips. Nines, eights, sevens, like maybe like weak queens, but I think that's pretty much the top of his range in this spot. And So I don't think that's in the middle of any kind of calling range. So what we need to do is talk about what makes those hands, easy. All right, fine. Start from the beginning. All right, so what's our range? So flop. Because I think part of what the thing about, and that's fine, we'll do it this way for now. Next time we'll do it a different way. But part of figuring out the answer to this stuff is figuring out the correct river play and making sure we get to the river with the appropriate hand range. So if we know what the appropriate hand range to have on the river is, we know how we had to have played the turn in the flop. But for now, let's just do it this way. So our range pre-flop is, let's get another tool out here. Oh, I don't know if I have the, okay, I have 1 day left on my Flopzilla trial. That's annoying. I have Flopzilla on my laptop also, so kind of irritating that you have to buy these per computer, which is irritating. So my small blind range is probably pretty big, honestly. I should probably be raising like, I don't know, 50% of my hands on the small blind. I don't raise these. I don't know, this looks pretty reasonable. Probably raise all these. I don't know, something like that. So that's the type of range we're looking at. And we look at the flop, which is going to be queen of diamonds, 6 of clubs, 9 of spades. It's not telling us how our range is doing here. Oh, please register the software. Oh, God. Okay. It's really annoying. Sorry. Backup plan. Where is Poker Stove? Boom. Okay. Huh. They have really different ranges. That looks pretty good though. I think 2 is going to be in our range. Apply. Alright, so we're going to have that. And then, our board. 9, queen, 6. Okay. Oh, we can't evaluate that. So what we need to do is essentially find out if we bet this flop, what range of hands is it, should he be calling with? God, I need Carter and RZV to do this. Oh, that was pretty close. Hold on. This is not a fucking jungle gym under there with my computer wires. So this range needs to be weaker. Okay, so we don't need his range. So we're saying this is our range. Okay? Now what? We need to figure out which of these hands we need to be betting the flop with and which of them we need to be checking the flop with. Don't like that. All right, his range doesn't matter. Got it, check. So essentially we want to be betting a range that puts, you know, his like overcards and his like pair of 6s, 5s, 4s, and 3s 0 EV. So that probably looks something like betting all our queens, betting all our 9s. So all these 9s, all these queens, our 10s, jacks, and some overcards, 10 jack, that type of range. Does that make sense? So, you know, we're going to be betting out of these 50. So, okay, so out of like 50% of all hands that we open on queen, 9, 6, we want, yeah, that includes some air. I mean, I think we would bet like ace king on this board, which I guess, yeah, that's not air, but we're probably going to continue with, let's look at what percentage of hands we're going to continue with. You know, okay, so here's a question. Do we bet, you know, 6-5? Do we bet 6-7? Those are kind of in the middle of our range. 8-6, 9-6, 10-6, if that's even really in there. Yeah, no, I understand ace king is not really air. You know, ace-6. What do we do with ace-5, ace-4, ace-3 offsuit versions? So what do we not continue with here is stuff like, let's eliminate some crap. Is jack-7 crap here? What is that? Is that a gut shot? So we probably are going to play that, right? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No. 7, 8. No, that's not 10. Does a 10 give us a straight? No, because we need an 8 too. So jack-7 we probably don't need in our range. Jack-8 we're going to have. 10-8 we're going to have. 9-8 we have, obviously. 10-9. Honestly, our hand is like crazy strong here. King 10 we're going to continue with. That's a gut shot. King 5. King 6. Maybe King 7. Sorry. Thanks for mentioning that. So, you know, King 7, King 8 we'll probably get rid of. Queen, no, none of those. Jack 7, get rid of. Jack 9, Jack 10, no. Jacks, obviously, no. None of those. So, I mean, really, like, a huge Jack 4, Jack 5, Jack 7 suited. Right. Honestly, like, I think 3s, 4s, and 5s are pretty junk. Yeah. Agreed. Glad we agree there. Those are all good. Some of these. All right. Oh, wait. Go sit in that box. Chew on that towel. I don't care if you chew on towels. It's coming right back for the wires. Getting that. Damn it. So, you know, just looking at this, honestly, we're betting just a huge part. We're down to 42%. So let's say that, yeah, we probably continue with, what is that, 80% of our range? Okay. So if we're c-betting with, like, you know, pretty much 80% of our open range, well, okay, yeah. We continue. Yeah, I knew what you were about to say. We don't necessarily c-bet all these. What is appropriate to be check calling with, though? We don't want to just check call the bottom of our range. Well, and we're not check calling. We'd just be checking back. So our check back range, what's appropriate to have in there? Is it, you know, our draws? Our medium strength pairs, 9-8 type of hands, or do we want to be checking back our, you know, we probably don't want to check back the top of our range, we know that. We probably don't want to check back the bottom of our range, so we probably want to be checking back the middle of our range. Now, what is the middle of our range? Is it draws? You know, we probably can be checking back some, like, maybe some open-ended draws, some stuff that has like more equity, and we want to be betting our weaker draws. Does that make sense? Glad the chat's in this. This would be a terrible video without any chat. So, you know, probably. Oh crap! I just lost. I don't know why it does that, but yeah, we just lost our range. It's unfortunate. We had like 42%, but it's different. Yeah, well, yeah, King 10 has a lot more equity because you can. Yeah, King 10 has a lot more equity because you've got the overcard. So we probably want to c-bet pretty close to like maybe, I'm guessing 70% of our range. So we would fold like 10%, c-bet 70%, and check. So so in general, this is going to be the top and bottom. This is going to be the middle and what, weak draws. So this is going to be like weak draws. And maybe some like bottom pair. I mean, bottom pair seems kind of weird to check back just because it's going to be hard to call. Like, if we check back and then our opponent bets the turn, we've sort of set ourselves up to get exploited because we have to fold most of those. So let's just say weak draws. We should probably bet most of our sixes. Agree? Disagree? Betting most of our sixes is exploitable? Or what I just said, checking our sixes and then folding them on the turn is brutally exploitable? Yeah, agreed. Okay, so we're talking bet sixes. Right, exactly. So, yeah, well, we're not check calling, we're just calling, we're in position. So, do we call, we call with all our sixes, obviously, to a lead, just because that would be very exploitable if he could lead out and get us to fold, like, a huge part of our range. But I don't think we call sixes twice. Oh, crap, you're right. Whoops. Sorry. All right, you're right, we are out of position. Well, that changes everything. Okay, that makes sense. So, yeah, right, that's what I was saying. Okay, so let's move on. I think this is kind of seems reasonable. We're opening half our hands. We're c-betting like 70% of those on this type of flop, and we're going to check call with some of our weaker stuff, and we'll fold like the bottom 10% of our range. All right, let's move on. So we bet, which means that we're in the top 70% of our range, or the top and bottom, I guess. And we get flat called. So now, what do we want to do on the turn? So turn, we're at 70% of our open range. So, which is, what's 70% of 50%? Like 30, I don't know. Like 35? Is this where we're at? Like a 35% range? This is a pretty simple math equation, I think. 35%. Wow, good guesstimation. All right, go you rounder, math whiz. So this seems okay. This seems okay. Slowly but surely, this is going to be a torturous video to watch, but that's okay. People don't have to watch it. It's not mandatory. All right, so turn. We're going to have about 70% of our range still. So this seems kind of, like one of those spots where we could very easily get exploited. Now, that 2 does not help any of our range. So as far as our range goes, the 2 is a pretty bad card for our range. So I think at this point, a lot of our range is going into check fold mode. Agree or disagree? Hits cold call. What do you mean? Like hits his cold calling range, the 2 of clubs? Oh yeah. Club. Right. So yeah, like some percentage of our suited hands have the ability to continue here. All of our, gut shots and draws should still be continuing. So what is our check fold range now? What percentage should we be check folding at this point? I would say our what did we have on the flop here? Right, yeah, I understand. Yeah, if we have clubs, it helps. Yeah, so I would say we're check folding. Well, here's a question: do we check fold Ace Jack? Do we check fold King 8? I think King 8 we fold now. I don't know if that was actually still in our range or not. King 10, we've still got an over and a gutter. We should probably be betting King 10 still. Do we check back some of our like 9s and queens? Some of our weak queens and some of our 9s? Or do we keep betting with our most of our value? I think if we're going to be betting with a lot of our bluffs, we need to be betting with almost all of our value. We can't bet King 10 here and check Queen 5. Does that make sense? Because if we're turning our hand into too much air if we do that. We need to be betting, our 9s and our queens. We can probably check fold or check call our 6. What do we do with 6s? Let's figure that out. So, bottom of our, made range. What are we doing with 8-6 here? Okay. So. All right, sorry. So what I'm doing is just kind of typing out where our ranges fall here so we can understand what is actually the top, bottom, and middle of our range. Once we understand where the top, bottom, and middle of our range is, we should be able to better decide what to do with those different parts of our range and have different lines with different portions of our range, because I think that's what we're supposed to be doing here. So we'll see. Now the bottom of our range is, I'm going to say, gut shots, like backdoor flush draw, no pair. What else do we have in the bottom here? Air, like, just air, no draw. So like ace jack. I mean, yeah, we have a top pair draw, but that's air by the turn. I mean, we've got 3 outs on the river. That's like 6%. So that's not very good. And air. So I think that do we play all of these the same? All right, so some of these questions, you guys, make sure you timestamp this stuff. If you actually watch the whole YouTube video, go ahead, put in whatever time in the video this is, and make comments on the stuff that you think I'm saying that's right or wrong. For example, like, do we want to play the top of our range the exact same here, and do we want to play it different from the middle and bottom of our range to be unexploitable, or do we want to play some portion of all of these a certain way? It's kind of hard to answer, right? Like, if we do something with the bottom of our range, if we always check fold the bottom of our range here, that could be exploitable. But if we're just check folding the bottom of our range and continuing with the middle and top of our range, we need to look at the percentage of each of these. That's what we need to do. So let me read what Kirby just wrote here. All right, so my thinking on this is that on the flop, a solid check back range is 10 jack, king 10, 7 8, queen x, club on the flop. Queen x, diamond, queen 8, queen 7, queen 10, and maybe like 9 10, 9 8. On the turn, because we bet the flop fairly polarized, I think we should be giving up at the bottom 15% of our range or so, like king 8, jack 7. Should not be in a 3-barrel call range. 6x, yeah, those should not be in a 3-barrel call range. So ace x high. We have all the value hands. We bet on the flop, maybe checking some clubs and 9-9 with 2 clubs, ace 9, king 9. Continue to check call with all but king 10, maybe 8-9 or something. But is check folding the bottom of our range ever really that exploitable? I don't think so. To answer that last question, I think that as long as we don't get somewhere where all we have, like where the bottom of our range is too big, then it's not. So like, if we look at, what the bottom of our range is here, and it's gut shots, some backdoor flush draws without a pair, and like ace jack, that's not, like, let's actually look at clear. So the bottom of our range, we'll say, like, at this point it's, and this king jack really, I mean, that's a gut shot with an over card. So that's not that bad, but, we're talking ace, I think ace 10 we continued with. Ace 9's got something, some of these, I think that's like what we ended up with. I don't think we would continue with like ace 8. That should probably have been in our like not playing anymore range. And this is also what's good to figure out is when we look and we're like, man, we've got, let's say that we had like all these and we're like, oh yeah, we'll just, bet all these on the flop, and we look and we're like, damn, we've got, we're check folding way too many hands here. It's like, okay, well on the flop, we probably should have gotten rid of these, right? So that's the type of stuff we can realize. We can realize that, you know, okay, well, on the flop, we probably should have gotten rid of those hands. So we only have these hands we're continuing with on the flop. That way we don't get the turn with this super weak range. So, you know, Jack 7, if we're getting rid of, you know, our Jack 7s, we start to maybe realize that, like, okay, maybe we should have gotten rid of Jack 8 and Jack 7 on the flop. Probably not. Those should probably still be in there. But we can probably fold them on the turn. You know, Jack 8. Obviously, clubs we're going to keep. You know, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to go through all this. It's just going to be too painful. We're not going to get rid of any of our queens at this point. Right, so, yeah, at that point we should go back and adjust that a little bit and say, but that's why it's, you know, why I think we work backwards. And this is a good exercise. I think this is really good, and we've almost used up an hour on this first hand, so that's pretty cool. I may actually restart this, and we can do another hand if you guys feel like sticking around, because just to sort of chat and figure it out. It is really hard, and I think what I'll do is probably work a lot today and the next few days on getting better with Card Runners EV and understanding it better. So, you know, okay, so let's try to finish this one, because I think we're doing pretty good work. So what else, what haven't I selected that's our heir that we want to get rid of? Let's try to work through this hand as we did it and see where we made the mistakes. What other hands were in our range here that we're getting rid of? 9, say, all the 9s we're keeping. Did we want to get rid of like 10-8? You know, our gut shots. Obviously, we're not going to get rid of like 10-8 of clubs. We're not going to get rid of 10-7 of clubs. 10-6, Jack 6, we'll keep those. All the queens we'll keep. King 7s, you know, all these. Not that one. Club, we'll keep. So, what else? King 10. You know, King 10 off we'll get rid of. Ace 10 off we'll get rid of. Well, and we're talking about whether or not we're betting. So this is our, like, check, you know, our range that we plan on check folding with. And you're right. If he min bets out, then we're going to call with a lot more of these. But we don't have to worry about that too much. But with implied odds, you know, we probably have odds to call with like 10-8 suited. We definitely have the 10-8 of clubs. We definitely have the odds to call. You know, we've got jacks and 7s, right? That can give us a straight. Double gutted, are we? No. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Jack, no. The heck's 10-8? Do we have no 10-8's nothing. No, not 10-8 offsuit. 10-8 offsuit's in the definitely in the check fold. Same with 10-7. Yeah, those are junk. So this is like 10% of all hands, which is probably a pretty big portion of our range actually. So gut shots, backdoor flush draws, no pair. Well, let's take that out. We'll just say, you know, because I think backdoor flush draws we're probably going to continue with most of the ones we have, because I think almost all of them have some kind of other draw in them. And it's going to be very hard for him to put us on a backdoor flush draw. I know that. I don't know if that factors into this or not, but well, I did mark off some of these, like this Jack 7. Ugh, I took out the non-suited ones, so I actually did do that on some of these. All the queens, all the 9s. You know, like King 6, obviously, those we're not going anywhere with. Oh, like the Ace 7, we'll keep the clubs. Ace 8, we'll keep the clubs. Ace 9's not going anywhere. King 8, I think I already did it, but let me just make sure. Keep the clubs. So like King 7 with, you know, that's, yeah, we've got an overcard though, so it's not too bad. So let's say that like this is, you know, 10% overall. So I don't know what that is of our range. 10% of 35% or 35% of 10%. I don't think it matters. Yeah, it does. it does matter because, yeah, 35% of our range overall, and we're getting rid of 10% of the overall range. So we're down to 25%. All right, so we've gotten rid of, oh God, why can't I do math? Can't do math in public. So we're betting the turn like 60. What is? Jeez. I know that somebody's gonna come on here and correct this. 35. So yeah, about 30% of our range. So that makes sense, actually. I'm actually okay with that. Let me. So 30% of our range we're folding at this point, which is 10% overall. So a third of the time on the turn we fold. The middle of our range a lot of the time should be. Well, we check fold. The middle of our range, what do we do with sixes here? Nines, I think check calling's fine. What do we think we're doing with most of our sixes? Are we folding a lot of sixes? Or is that the range we're folding? This the range we're check calling, and this the range that we're betting out? Or do we bet out this whole range and just check fold? So like when we check, we're always folding. That seems pretty exploitable. Maybe we call with the top middle portion of our range. Yeah, that is bad. So if we have a spot, and this is really important to identify, because if we don't identify like what's bad, then we may end up doing it without ever realizing that we're doing something bad. Because I'm sure there's plenty of spots where I'm just like, oh, I just check fold all my sixes here. And I check fold, if I just check fold the bottom of my range after betting the flop, that's no good. If I bet... Well, that doesn't seem right, because I don't know if that's right. It may be, but let's try to work it out from where we've gotten. So we've gotten to this point. Let's try to work this out. Oh, wait. Why did my stream stop?